You can find simply everything in the global ocean. Giant squids, predaceous whales, deciduous sea dragons. But not only nature may surprise you, people conquered the seas and built huge ships. If the only big ship you know is the Titanic, just have a look at this giant with a sharp bow in the shape of an iron. Looks like an optical illusion? Not at all. Such a watercraft really exists, and it's called the Ramform Hyperion. Why does it need this kind of a hull shape? The fact is that this ship is engaged in seismological exploration and is searching for mineral products. The triangular shape suppresses noise from devices on the ship so that echolocation works more efficiently. In addition, this form of Ramform Hyperion helps it to pull seismographic sensors along with it. With a stern width of 229 feet or 70 meters, these sensors cover an area of 4.6 square miles or 12 square kilometers at once. It's equivalent to the area of 1,500 soccer fields. If a giant of similar proportions moves right towards you and you're on a small boat, then the danger is not even a collision. The waves that rise when the ship moves can reach 10 feet or 3 meters. But don't get frightened. Today you will remain safe. However, you will find out about the largest ships across the globe. This is the Queen Mary II from the French company Chantier de l'Antique. It is one of the largest cruise liners in the world. 2,620. That is the number of passengers it can carry at a time. This is only a little less than the capacity of Carnegie Hall in New York. Together with that, the ship is really huge, 1,131.8 feet or 345 meters long. It's like 12 basketball courts that are placed one after another. Each of the guests on the ship will receive comfortable conditions of the highest level. After all, there are 15 restaurants, a casino, and a real qualified theater on board the ship. But this is not the main trick of Queen Mary II. Do you like watching the stars? This ship has got the world's first planetarium on a boat. Now, think over how cool it is to admire the image of faraway galaxies and planets on a ship that sways in the waves. Cool feeling, isn't it? And although the upper deck height of the ship is only a little less than the pipe's height of the Titanic, Queen Mary II looks both impressive and elegant. And the Anthem of the Seas cruise ship is so huge that there's a real surfing simulator inside. The total length is 1,141 feet or 348 meters. What else do you think has been placed on board? Maybe a water park? No problem. Pools, rides, and many steep slides are waiting for you. Or would you like to fly like a skydiver? Then choose a flight simulator in a glass 22-foot or 7-meter wind tunnel. But the main trick of this liner is an amusement North Star. This glass capsule in the form of a gemstone is located above the upper deck. Using a special mechanism, it rises to a height of 300 feet or 91 meters above the ocean. A panorama from a bird's eye view. Owing to the transparent hull, each of its 14 passengers admires the sea views at 360 degrees. Wouldn't you be afraid to experience inside such a capsule at the height of a skyscraper? But passenger liners are not the largest ships in the world. Freight ones can be much larger, and among them there are sometimes giants with a heavy character. For example, Emma Maersk. With a length of 1,302 feet, or 397 meters, it immediately leaves any passenger ship far behind. And at the same time, it can carry more than 150 tons of cargo. It's curious that this ship has a gentle female name, but ironically, among the largest bulk carriers on the planet, it has a reputation of a bad guy. Even during the construction process, a serious fire broke out, and in 2013, the ship, right at the intersection of the Suez Canal, lost control due to problems with one of the engines. Fortunately, it didn't get into an accident or experience flooding issues. Ecologists also dislike Emma because of the use of sulfur dioxide, which is harmful to the environment. How do you like the idea of building two twin ships? Each of the Oasis ships is a real floating city. They are called Allure of the Seas and Oasis in the Seas, and they are fully identical. In addition, the first one is 0.19 inches longer than the second one. Therefore, they are put together on our list. Each is 1,187 feet or 362 meters long. But size is not the main highlight of these twin ships' design. Estimate the massive part of the residential block. It looks like a real beehive, right? And all this is possible because each of these cruise ships can carry 6,296 passengers and 2,384 crew members. Nearly 9,000 people. That's the size of a small town. But of course, there are not only endless corridors with cabins on the liners. The ship's developers tried to make very leisure activities for the passengers. First off, there are plenty of bars on board. Moreover, there's an ice rink on board. We recommend going there before visiting the bar, not after. And even a real park with rare and exotic plants. Just imagine the botanical garden on a ship. Cargo ships are not so interesting, but still much cooler due to their size. For example, the TI class is the largest class of functional ships with a double hull. Among the same ships of this kind, it is the largest one in terms of both dimensions, 1,246 feet or 380 meters, and maximum weight, which is 441.5 tons. There are 4 of them in the world, and they are fully identical. In addition, 2 out of 4 have already been converted into floating platforms. Now, they don't sail across the ocean, but exist as oil storage and shipping stations near Qatar. Is this a sad fate for a ship to anchor forever and turn into a giant barrel? What do you think? The air-capable Russian cruiser Admiral Kuznetsov is the largest ship and the only aircraft carrier of the Russian Navy. It can carry 26 planes and 24 helicopters on the flight deck and in the hangar below the deck. The ship is equipped with 12 launchers P-700 Granite of the anti-ship missile system, 24 launchers of the anti-aircraft missile system Kinzhal, 8 modules of the anti-aircraft missile and artillery system Kortik, 6 six-barreled artillery systems AK-630, and anti-torpedo missile defense. Yeah, such equipment can't be compared with swimming pools and casinos on board, although we think the crew consisting of 1,980 people would not refuse at least any entertainment, except for shooting, of course. The total length is 306.45 meters or 1,003 feet. While the ship is armored with a rolled steel and a 3-layer anti-torpedo protection 13 feet or 4.5 meters wide. How will cruise liners respond to this size competition? Meet Symphony of the Seas. This refers to the largest cruise ship in the world. Its length is 1,188 feet or 362 meters. The maximum height is 238 feet or 72.5 meters. And thus, there is everything, and there is a lot of it. 18 decks, 16 for guests, 22 restaurants, and 24 pools. The general number of guest cabins is 2,759 for more than 6,500 people. Yeah, Symphony of the Seas leaves behind any other ship in the list in terms of comfort level, first of all. After all, the ship creators clearly understood that they built a floating city, so they decided to use it in full and divided Symphony of the Seas into real thematic districts. Therefore, walking on the ship is much more interesting than on other liners. It will take days to at least get acquainted with it, and according to thought-out logistics, guests neither make a crowd nor feel lonely. As in a real city, you can find a nook here, for example, in a park with 20,000 exotic tropical plants, or visit a more crowded street with top-class shops and restaurants. And don't forget to add amusement parks, a surfing simulator, and a laser show to this very list. Would that surprise you? Then try the Absolute Abyss. That is a water slide with the help of which you will fall into the ocean from a height equal to a 10-story building. Here, you will not only feel the real size of the ship, but also take its advantages. Okay, if Symphony of the Seas is the biggest cruise ship, then what else may we surprise you with? Oh, believe us, carriers may perfectly cope with that. Pierre Guillemot is a French supertanker 1,358 feet or 414 meters long and just monstrous. 555,000 tons of maximum weight. It's difficult even to imagine the proportions of this monster, but unfortunately, right, because of its huge size, it suffered a catastrophe. At first, the tanker transported oil without any incidents, but in 5 working years it was simply decommissioned and sawn for scrap iron. Why so? Well, the reason was simple. A whopper like this physically could not pass through the Suez and Panama canals. The ship was so huge that it could get stuck there easy as pie, and using it for something else except for oil transportation in these regions was financially unprofitable. Now get ready for a real shock, because here you face one of the largest crafts in shipping history, the Seawise Giant. Its length is more than 1,502 feet or 458 meters. The maximum cargo weight is 564,000 tons. It is too big not only for the Panama Canal, such a titan could not even cross the English Channel, but it was not supposed to be decommissioned. Vice versa, it transported oil to the hot zones. For example, this tanker transported oil during the war between Iran and Iraq in the 1980s. It was hit by a rocket of the Iraqi army and sank off the coast of the Persian Gulf. But this is not the end. Soon it was picked up and towed right to Singapore. This is amazing, but it was towed directly like airplanes fly, and it's almost 3,914 miles or 6,300 kilometers. And for towing a ship across the ocean, that is just an incredible distance. The ship was repaired, and in 1991 it went in the sea with a new name, Happy Giant. It went sailing until 2009 when it was sawn for scrap iron at the coast of India. Have you ever seen huge ships nearby or perhaps traveled on them? Reply in the comments. If you liked our video, please like and subscribe to our channel.